Jimmy with Cuff and Stuff. Well, let's take a walk down memory lane back to the 50s, back to the days of our parents and our grandparents. One of the things that a teenager would do back in the 50s is they would take a date out to either go to a cafe or to a diner, or maybe even the second part of the 50s to a drive-in. Now, these were the days of poodle skirts and bobby socks, and it was a post-World War II more time of innocence than I think we experience today. One of the most important things in the 50s that came along in the food industry was the explosion of the hamburger. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do a 1950s version of a hamburger. It's done 3 ways, and we're going to show you how to do that. So hang tight. Okay, well, back in the 50s, if you went into a diner or a cafe and ordered a hamburger, odds are what you were going to get is 2.6 ounces of hamburger meat. Now, it wasn't called necessarily ground beef because it might have something in it besides beef. But normally, if your hamburger was made of ground beef, it was a 70-30 mix, and that's what we have here. Just for information's sake, that would even out. You would get about 6 patties per pound. Now, to cover a normal hamburger bun, these patties had to be smashed. And that was the origin of the smash burger, I do believe. I don't think they had irons to mash them flat, but they did it with a skillet. Normally they were cooked on a flat top griddle. And so that's what we're gonna attempt. So as you see, this is a pound of hamburger. I have 6 patties, pretty close in size and weight. We're gonna take those over to the griddle and we're gonna start them. So I'll bring you back. Okay, well, let's put these on. We're going to do all 6. Now, this is pretty heavy fat content, so let's mash them down pretty flat. And this is what that short order cook, as they were called back in the day. That's what he would be doing to this hamburger patty. He would mash it flat. The idea was with this heavy fat, it was going to shrink. So he wanted it to cover the bun at least, and not have a, as it said in our day, where's the beef situation. So they would mash it down pretty fast, and that would allow for 2 things. It would allow for it, as I said, to cover the bun, and it would also allow for it to cook pretty quick. So they could turn out a bunch of hamburgers. Now for seasoning, salt, and pepper. And that's what you got. Salt and pepper. I like pepper. All right. So the trick with these and cooking these hamburgers, the same as in this day cooking smash burgers, is just leave them alone. Leave them on the flat top let them cook. And that's what we're going to do. You would get that caramelization of the hamburger meat. And now, there were 3 ways that you could get these hamburgers back in the 50s. You could get a regular hamburger, which was basically just a plain burger on a bun. You could get a cheeseburger, which again was basically a plain hamburger with a piece of cheese. Or you could get a deluxe, and that had lettuce and tomato, usually a slice of onion, and maybe pickles. And that was a deluxe. And boy, did it drive the price up to put that. It might have been 18 or 20 cents. So let's flip them over. You see how easy that turns? Now, this little griddle is not hot, but we're still getting a little caramelization, but it's done. Okay, so 2 of these I'm gonna do plain. 2 I'm gonna do deluxe. And 2 I'm gonna do with just cheese. So, odds are, this was just a plain American cheese. Nothing special, nothing fancy. If you really got to a fancy diner, occasionally you might see cooked onions. You might see all kinds of stuff. And again, the deluxe, you could order anything. You could add or take away any of the normal toppings that you wanted to. So, that cheese is melted. Let's take these off and go over, and let's build our 1950s model hamburger. So I'll bring you right back. All right, well, let's put these boys together. Here is one of the plain, and let's do 2 of those. The cheeseburger. There's one. And 2. And you see they just cover these buns, and these, I checked, these are about the size buns. No seeds, no nothing, just plain white bread. And then let's build the deluxe. All right. This is just going to be a deluxe hamburger, not a cheeseburger. We've got a couple of slices of lettuce. We've got a slice of tomato. We're going to get fancy here. We're going to put 3 slices of pickle. And there's the deluxe. Oh my goodness. The teenagers of the time didn't have a lot of money to spend, but this is something you could take to the diner. Now, toward the latter half of the 50s, places started showing up that did pretty much just hamburgers, maybe hamburgers and fries. They did milkshakes, malted, and you could get those in a lot of cafes too. We had drive-ins that started showing up, and this is pretty much what you could get. And a teenager would have enough money, he could go buy a hamburger and have enough money left over. They became gathering places, and you still have a few of those left today. There's one restaurant chain that their whole motif is based on car hops and the drive-in. So this is what they look like. This is what you got in the 50s for a hamburger. Okay, well, here we are again. My favorite part. You know, I can just see my dad back in the 50s walking into a downtown cafe with a quarter in his pocket and ordering a malted and a burger. He loved burgers, and as he was working his way through school, I can see him sitting down and eating one of these. He made many of these as we were growing up as kids, and this is basically the way we had them. Now, condiments at the end of the 50s came in. This new relish type condiment came in called ketchup. And oh my goodness, with the fries and the burgers, it came in, mustard, mayonnaise, and hamburgers just exploded from there. And of course, you know the rest of the story. So let's get to my favorite part, and let's eat a 1950s hamburger. With all the stuff that we've done to hamburgers and that we put on them and we go through, it's still hard to beat just a good, ordinary hamburger. They're delicious. Thanks for hanging around, taking a trip down memory lane with me. If you haven't already, consider hitting this subscribe button on this side. I'll have another video for you over here. Until next time, hang tight.